Kapre Guam. Thank you for joining us for yet another At the Table We'd Like to Know, the Action Pack show. We're here with Dr. Sam Mabini Young, and she is a candidate seeking your vote in this coming primary election. Dr. Mabini Young, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Phil, for having me.
Absolutely. And before we get into our interview, we do want to remind the voters that this primary election is on August 27th. So there's just about 18 days left. Online registration has closed, but you can still register to vote if you aren't already up until the 10th of this month. And for those new to knowing Action Pack or our content, Action Pack was formed out of the need to play an active role in government beginning at the grassroots level. Action Pack is made up of members from a cross-section of Guam society, representing all walks of life, and united in our belief that we can affect change through action. So we welcome you to get to know us better as we hope to help you get to know the candidates better. So Dr. Sam Mabini Young, we're going to jump right into if you can explain what are your 3 platform pillars.
Sure. If anybody knows me, they know that I'm a self-proclaimed evangelist in workforce development. So preparing our workforce is number 1. And I would describe that as preparing and helping our businesses, our educators, our families, individuals to improve the way that we work together to support their human resource needs and to also help our youth and adults find the careers that really match and provide them the kind of quality of living that they need in order to survive and be happy here in Guam. So young, old, doesn't matter, current industry or new industry, that's an area that workforce development needs to be focused on. And accountability in the community, by what I mean by that is helping our individuals be successful in the community. In this case, innovative housing options is an area that I believe individuals, families, homeless, and the vulnerable and elderly community are experiencing challenges. And we need to do a better job in helping new businesses adopt innovative ways for home development and also innovative ways for families to be able to afford those homes. And then attached to that is supporting in a very aggressive drug enforcement policy or initiative in the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to get at that. I think that's taken backseat for too long. And last but not least, it's the smarter and smaller government concept. And so that means looking at our government agencies and see what they can do better to be more effective, to be more entrepreneurial, and to have also higher accountability in our workforce in the public sector. Second is also looking at a part-time legislature model that would work for Guam.
Excellent. I mean, just to go off the bat, those are a lot of the fundamentals and areas that the Action Pack stands for and is advocating for. So definitely more efficient government, transparent government, and to the point where a part-time legislature should definitely be studied and seeing if it's something that we can efficiently implement to move forward. And you're absolutely right on the issues with the drug and the law enforcement. That is an area that we definitely need to look at as a governing community, support our law enforcement, but also when we catch these rule breakers or law breakers, we can't just do that catch and release program that it seems to have happened and gotten way too common these days. So I appreciate your answers. Now, I would like to ask one of the main questions for us is, what is your one main focused item that you believe you can realistically accomplish in one term?
I would like to look at how legislation can strengthen or develop new, authentic, strategic partnerships between the public and private sector when it comes to preparing our workforce. And I know that we collect data like through the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, but unfortunately, those can be as outdated in 6 months to a year. And about what we need is real-time information like that. And we would need to work with our private sector to be able to actually grab that information and then relay that information to our educational institutions, whether it's secondary or in post-secondary, so that they know how to tweak their programs to meet immediate needs. We need to clear those pathways for students, young and old, to figure out how to get into those particular careers. And again, it's really about authenticity to meeting HR needs. And that's not just on Guam, that's worldwide. I did get a postdoc fellowship just a short while ago, and I was at Alabama and working with University of Alabama and the state of Alabama, and seeing what they're doing and improving and creating this system that kind of addresses that point that I made. And one very specific one that we could really work on right now, and you probably have heard of it, you've heard of the term service learning, and that's become a graduate requirement. But unfortunately, in like many programs, sometimes things get messy during the execution. And so the intent of the program may have been lost. We need to go back to it and really focus not so much on that service learning model, but other learning models, experiential learning models like internships. So how can we make our business, or how can we bring to our businesses internship opportunities that work for them, and that perhaps can be funded through either local or federal funding, federal programs. So going back to that legislation on service learning, and then revamping that and focusing on all the different types of learning opportunities that would benefit not only the students, but the businesses.
Yeah, that's a great response. I look at it a few ways, and you started with having a working together with the business community, government, and as well as the business community working in tandem. And I believe that's the beauty of the Action PAC is many know that the Action PAC is made up of some of the largest business organizations on island, from all of the chambers to the contractors, realtors, and hotel and restaurant association. And I think our main focus is to have that access of dialogue with our future lawmakers, because you know, I mean, when it comes down to it, there are certain areas that you should talk to the specialists, or you should talk to the boots on the ground, to at least garner ideas and work together in unison for the common expected result, or at least the predetermined result. And secondly, as a father of four, my oldest has just entered his sophomore year, and one of the beautiful things about, I know that the Guam Young Professionals and the new contractor emerging leader program, which is very highly focused on the young professionals in the workplace, creating new opportunities for the next generation of young professionals by way of job fairs, by way of mentorship and internship, and many of the things that you've mentioned. One of the new ideas here on island, I'm pretty sure you've heard of the Guam the Guam Charter Academy down in Agate, led by Dr. Juan Flores, and it is a trades oriented high school, where when you graduate with a diploma and a certification, and that's their model. And I applaud them for taking that chance on our youth, which we should. So I love the ideas. Now let's see. Our closing question to all of the candidates, obviously we do represent the business community, is how will you help our local business community during this economic recovery period?
Okay. One of the things that I had learned during the COVID-19 past 2 years, through my work with SBDC, in which I supported small businesses who needed that extra handholding to get through some of the programs that are available through SBA. And what I had learned a lot was how there are a lot of small things that small businesses may or may not have known that they needed to work on before COVID-19 because of the processes. And COVID-19 kind of pulled the curtain back and revealed a lot of the shortcomings. For instance, small businesses who may not necessarily know all the opportunities that they could get by working with banks and being digital. And there are other things as well. So one of the areas that I would love to see is having Revenue Tax provide through some of the fees that they may or may not be collecting. And I'm not saying that we're going to add any more fees, maybe take away fees, or have those fees applied directly to providing those kind of training that small businesses need so that they can be successful. Filing requirements, basic tax. I mean, I'm a small business owner myself, and I need guidance from tax experts. Let alone that the average person who may not have ever had any background experience in management or accounting, basic banking needs, etc. And I'd like to see some of those, maybe those fees waived, because I saw during COVID-19 how that really helped businesses like myself tremendously, when I was such a relief knowing those fees were set aside. It helped me plan my calendar, knowing when I need to pay attention to those again, and doing a better job. So that would be one, providing those direct support for small and existing businesses. GITA has great programs, but we need to have them more transparent and accountable in feedback to businesses who are applying for some of those programs. I'd like to see some of the supporting programs that employees are looking for as they come back to work. Because what we're finding, not only locally, but nationally, that people who are coming back to work, this has become more of a seller's market, that they have the upper hand in a way, because they've learned that, wow, I could possibly work from home, or maybe staying at home and taking care of my kids is a lot more important and a lot more cost effective, and so forth. So how do we attract individuals to come back to work? One way would be to provide the programs that they need, whether it's family caregiving programs. And I know that there's some in place, but those are always hinging on availability of funding. Well, we need to make that more permanent, because we're entering a different era in what workers are expecting from employers. Transportation, I know we have continuous problems regarding a public transportation system. Maybe we need to shrink it and make it more definitive as far as certain locations, smaller vehicles, more gas effective vehicles, electric vehicles, to get people to work, and exploring perhaps incentives for remote working as we continue. It was great that our telecom businesses had provided incentives. Those were federal funded incentives to allow home, work, to be able to work from home. So continuing those, and then on top of that, I'll always go back to training and development. There are a lot of programs that are available. We've heard about it. Department of Labor offers it, but I know that there's so much red tape and bureaucracy to get qualified applicants to your doorsteps to become trainees or whatnot. Cumbersome, ridiculous, bureaucratic red tape that doesn't need to be there. We should be able to get interns straight into your workforce that is probably federally funded or locally funded through the programs, right to your door within 2 weeks. We should not wait 6 months to a year.
You're absolutely right. There should be the lowest amount of hurdles that you should be facing, whether you're going to be a productive worker in our society or a brand new business owner. And the government, I do believe they play a great role in molding that system that allows for these opportunities to not only present themselves, but to be achievable and have a roadmap to success for new entrepreneurs. So I definitely appreciate those statements. And if there's any last note or last message that you would like to tell the voters, we know the primary is right around the corner, and we want to see you in the general. So let's, if you have any last words for those that are viewing the podcast.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Action PAC. Again, just reminding everybody that my real name is Shirley, but I do go by Sam. So look for Shirley Sam Mabini Young. I am number 16 on the Republican side of the ballot. I have a website that's up. It's senatormabini.com. I encourage you to look at my website, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Kind of review my background and see for yourself what I bring to the table. Make educated decisions when you vote for your next leader whether it's in the legislature or whether it's in the executive branch or in the judicial side of the house. Be educated and be encouraged. I think there's a lot of possible great opportunities with new candidates coming in, and passionate candidates, knowledgeable and experienced and accountable candidates. So thank you again so much for having me. Again, I'm Dr. Sam Mabini Young, number 16 on the Republican side of the ballot.
Dr. Sam Mabini Young, thank you so much for taking part in this interview process, podcast process with us. And again, we hope that this is not going to be the last conversation that we have with you in regards to this this coming general election. So good luck to you, and thank you all for tuning in to the We'd Like to Know Action Pack show by the Action Pack. My name is Phil Luddy. I'm your executive director. Adios.